Get out of the weeds. That is the name of this little speech I'm about to give. It's about 20 minutes long for the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and it's designed for people who own small businesses or are solopreneurs to help them concentrate on what they need to do, uh, as opposed to all the administrative tasks and things that we normally wind up doing instead. So we're going to see if this will work. And my eye contact, instead of being with my audience, will be between me and my speech. So I hope you'll forgive me in advance. We're going to cover three things. If you have a great talent or product, why are you spending lots of time on everything else, like administration and posting to social media and doing other marketing things? Don't do everything yourself. You need to learn to outsource. And when I say you, I mean me too. So we're going to talk about three things: free help, inexpensive help, and help yourself by using some particular tools that will make things go faster and better while attracting more business. There will be a copy of the notes for the people who are actually in this speech, so that they can have the links and resources and so forth that I'm referring to. And so that nobody has to remember everything I said or try to write it down. So let's start with the most intriguing, of course, which is free help. And the first thing that most of us immediately do, right or wrong, is engage friends and family. Rule number one, don't abuse them. You need to select only a reasonable amount of work and time for them to spend. Why? Because they have their own independent lives and responsibilities that are completely aside from the fact that you decided to run a business. And it is unwise to burden them with so much that they actually come to resent you, because those resentments can actually last a lifetime. So the second most important point in that regard is the relationships are more important than any little tasks you decided to ask them to do. Also, don't give them just the grunt work, meaning all those trivial chores that no one on this earth wants to do. Give them things that can help them grow or that they can use in the future. For example, among the grunt work items that we know you in fact will give them, also give them other kinds of tasks. These are things that will require a skill that they can use to put on a resume or an application. It's especially important for kids who will be applying to colleges or for entry-level jobs. It's also important for people, particularly women, who are re-entering the workforce after a long absence or are entering it for the first time. Everyone, no matter who they are, needs what are called transferable skills, meaning that what they learned in one environment, that kind of skill can transfer and be used in another kind of work environment. So, for example, if your son or daughter has helped you with social media posts or knows how to fix computer issues, that is the kind of thing that can help them greatly in the future when they can list it as actual work experience on the job. Even if you're offloading household chores like shopping to your child, it's an opportunity to set standards for them so they know what kinds of requirements are made in a workplace, and they can incorporate that into a reference in the future. An example in that case is that more and more people are hiring personal shoppers, either because they're extremely busy and in fact they can afford it, or because they're too ill or too afraid to go out and do their own shopping. So whether your employee, meaning your kid, is researching items and prices online or is going out to shop in a physical location, that ability, getting it right, doing it on time, and handling everything with care is something that can be turned into a marketable skill as a personal shopper. Last point here, you and they can choose whether it's an appropriate idea to turn their assignment or assignments into an actual on paper agreement that they can use to substantiate that they had employment with you. With kids, that might be a little iffy. It's not worth making them feel bad or really mad on any long-term basis. But particularly with adults and friends and family other than kids, it could be useful to help them show that even though they were a housewife or they were laid off during the pandemic, that they have in fact been working. Free help from colleges or vocational schools. None of what I'm talking about is new. I'm just giving you details and links and resources so you can actually follow up on it. What is vocational education? They used to have those programs in all the schools when I was in high school. But in 1990, the Perkins Act defined vocational education as organized educational programs offering a sequence of courses that are directly related to the preparation of individuals in paid or unpaid employment, in current or emerging occupations, offering that require something besides a bachelor's or advanced degree. In other words, these are schools to help people prepare for earning a living when they do not plan to go to college anytime soon. So this matters. The primary business fields in which vocational education internships might be available are agriculture, business and office, marketing and distribution, health, occupational home economics, trades and industries like construction, mechanics, repairs, and precision production, and technical and communications. These are the ones that are approved under the Perkins Act, which means that some school is getting money or scholarships in order to do this. So those interns, might have noticed for many of us in the Chamber of Commerce, the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, include business and office. We're all doing office administration. Marketing and distribution, we all have to deal with that to let people know we exist. Most of us are health providers or something along the lines of that in terms of metaphysics and meditation and alternative methods of holistic healing without the use of pharmaceutical drugs. And of course, we're all dealing with technology, no matter who we are. So because the group I'm speaking to is in Virginia, I listed what are the best schools for this in Virginia, and I'm not going to read them, but the list is there for those of you who will get a copy of this, and they're all in Northern Virginia. However, you can check with your local high school, community colleges, and universities to see if they have intern programs for which you can use free help. The counselors who advise students in these institutions should be able to answer your question as to whether they have such programs, and then they should be able to put you in touch with the dean of whatever academic division handles those programs. Typically, there will be a formal agreement. It's just like a one piece of paper often that the institution, the student, and you sign. And it simply is outlining what are the work hours, what are the duties, and what are the terms of employment. Like if the school is closed, does the student get to not work? And do they continue work between semesters or no? So it's that kind of thing. Okay, so now let's talk about free help that isn't actually completely free. And we're probably all familiar with this one. It's called exchange of services. For example, if you'll do a spreadsheet for me to track my business mileage, I'll give you a free Reiki session. What we learn from those exchanges of services is multifold. First of all, it can be a great way in which to get people to love your work, i.e. the Reiki session in this example, and come back for more, even if they're going to have to pay for it in the future. It also can be a great way to create an expectation in people and the people they tell about it that they can always get a free Reiki session. And that can quickly or even gradually blur the lines between friendship and business, and the recognition that you're running a professional business for which you need to be paid in order to earn a living. So there are dangers with doing that often, but I'm not saying you shouldn't do it on occasion. And especially if you're trying to just start a business. What I am saying is make sure the exchange is of equal value. What does that mean? It's either an equivalency in time and effort that each party must put forward, or the parties must equally value what is being done. And I'll give you examples of each of those. An exchange of a Reiki session for a psychic reading might take roughly the same amount of time and preparation for each provider. On the other hand, it might take a techie type approximately 5 seconds to fix a computer issue that I couldn't fix in 10 years. So I would gladly offer that person an hour's worth of time to edit his or her social media posts or their thesis or whatever, in exchange simply for giving them my website password and letting them go in there for a few seconds to click whatever had to be clicked to make the fix, so I can make my website operational again. So that was equal value, although it was different in terms of time and effort. It is fine and maybe even desirable to offer freebies and to do things as an exchange of services to attract customers, especially when you have either a new business or a new product or service to offer. However, I advise you not to do exchange of services forever. People need to pay for your goods and services at full value in order for your business operations to be phenomenally successful. So let's go to inexpensive help. Fiverr and its competitors is the name of this section. I used Fiverr when I needed a logo. What they say is they have people who do logos or create all different kinds of things for $5. And what happened is I told them the nature of the holistic healing business in that case, what kind of thing I was looking for. A bunch of them made bids. I had to choose one or 3, and then I saw what they would do with it, and then I chose one. The bottom line is that they do Reiki sessions on there. I found that. But the fact is that, so in that case, you could not only try to get their service to help you, you could also sign up and be a provider to give that kind of service. So you might want to keep that in mind as a sideline. But what I found out is that almost nothing really actually costs $5, although there's some pretty good talent there. So what I did to make myself more current in this situation is to look at an article by Matt Algren, who talks about the 8 best Fiverr alternatives. I will give you the link. I would like you to read what he has to say because he gives all the details. I'm not going to read that to you in the speech. I will simply give you the names that he listed: Upwork, Freelancer, Top Toll, People Per Hour, Guru, Codable, Outsourcely, and Truelancer. I haven't explored those myself, so you need to go to his or any other articles to make comparisons. Now let's talk about outsourcing social media posting, which is one of the things you could do on Fiverr and those other sources. But you can also outsource dog walking, house cleaning, appliance repair, and things like that. So as a small business owner, when you think of delegating in order to maximize your time and money, you don't have to just outsource things that are related to your to your business. You can also outsource things that other people in the household would have done had you had that kind of help. So dog walking, house cleaning, and so forth. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on just social media. So I went to a place called Thumbtack. Thumbtack is another online service where you can find providers. I also recommend that you go there because they'll answer all whole slew of questions, many of which you would not perhaps have thought of even asking about these topics. But I'll cut to a couple of paragraphs from that site. How much does social media marketing cost? The national average cost for social media marketing services is $50 to $100 per hour. Of course, I have to throw in there that my rate is usually about $60 an hour, depending on the complexity of the project. It could be less if you have real simple stuff to do, and it could be a little more if I have to do a lot of research and find photos and all these things that are not in violation of copyright law to use. So the national average cost of monthly social media marketing packages can range from basically $399 a month to $5,000 a month, depending on the type of help you need, your industry, and whether you're using an agency or an individual consultant. So the fact that you know that most social media management freelancers are going to charge somewhere between $200 and $1,000 a month, and that agencies charge between $500 and $10,000 a month doesn't altogether help you except to scare you off. So what you need is a process of finding the number that's right for you and your business and your clients. So I gave you the link to social media freelancers and agencies serving our area. It's on Thumbtack. And all you do is type in your little zip code and it comes up. I only looked at like the top 5. They were complete with pictures and star ratings and that kind of thing. And so I typed it in for the area where I'm giving this speech. And then I typed it in for my own area, which is like about 3 counties away. And I got the exact same people. The point there being that although you can find local folks, many of us are working remotely. So I, for example, I have customers for various kinds of things in California and in Florida, even though I'm living in Northern Virginia. And it all works very well because of the internet. Thank you very much. Okay, help yourself with time-saving technologies, our next segment. Let's say you have to do your own social media posts. There are several options to help you post them simultaneously to multiple platforms. A platform means like Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and several others. And the one I'm most familiar with is Hootsuite, and you can view these in streams. You can see everything you posted or have scheduled to post in Facebook versus LinkedIn versus Twitter versus Instagram and so forth. So those are called streams. And most of these platforms have a free plan in which you can post a limited number of things for a limited number of times. And then the more you pay, the more streams you may be able to have. In other words, you're using more platforms and you can post more often for X amount of more dollars. So that's how it works. I'm most familiar again with Hootsuite. They have reports that show you what kinds of activity your posts have. And if someone has replied to you, like on Twitter, you can go to the Twitter stream, see it there, and reply back. If someone talked to you on LinkedIn, you can go to the LinkedIn stream and reply back. But somebody introduced me to Sendable. Sendable, I'm not familiar with in terms of actually using it, but it takes all those streams and puts them into one inbox. So no matter who is acting with you over from what platform, you can answer them all in one place, which would be a tremendous time saver. Another advantage is with a group called Loomly, LOOM.ly.com. Loomly is similar to Hootsuite, but it does something more wonderful in this sense. With Hootsuite, you're taking an image. You must have an image, and then you're putting in your text and your links, and then you're choosing which media to send it to, which platforms. And you're sending the same thing to all of them. Loomly lets you go in advance. So if you know LinkedIn lets you talk for a long time, and Twitter only lets you use a limited number of characters. You can edit the text and shorten it just for Twitter and change whatever you need to change for any of those platforms before you hit send, and then it goes to everybody. So I like that feature a lot. I looked up Hootsuite alternatives, and again, I've given the link so that you can go find out more information, but I'll just list these. Sendable, Agora Pulse, TweetDeck, Sprout Social, Tailwind, and Buffer Publish. Now note that some of these are designed specifically for small businesses and people who are newbie and not techie. Others are designed more for larger institutions who may have someone who does this full time, or maybe it's for a person like me. If I were handling multiple accounts for various people, I would want more capability and more sophistication. So you can check those out and see which one works for you. This last thing is a little more subtle in terms of a time saver. You might be the very best in your field, but it really doesn't matter if nobody's ever heard of you. So you need to spend some time upfront to coordinate your company messages, colors, your style, your taglines. And when you bring everything in sync so that your brand is recognizable and consistent with itself, then that can actually save you a lot of time, because one of the things you can do is to save all those hashtags or save your taglines or save your intro as a macro. And then either you or the person who does your social media posting can just go to that file and copy and paste the taglines or whatever is appropriate into any media or any speech or any marketing materials. And that saves a lot of time. As you create your brand, you will also spend less time trying to explain your company and what you do, because you'll already have it compactly put together, just like you created, hopefully, an elevator pitch or 2 or 3 to fit different kinds of occasions. You already have it there. You don't have to make it up each time, and it makes the conversations go much more smoothly. And it's easier for you and other people to share your information, thereby attracting new prospects or customers, because you've established yourself now as a legitimate, respected business that has a professional appearance and way of doing business. To help you with that, I'm going to refer you to a guest blogger on one of my websites. She is Liz Evangelatos. Isn't that a beautiful name? She's also known as the Media Maven. I met her on Twitter. She's across the country, but we became friends on Twitter because we admired each other's professional work. So I wrote a whole blog about her, but I included mostly her input about what she's learned about hashtags and those kinds of things. And so that link is in the handout for this speech. I hope this has helped you. I know I had to talk fast, and that's because I have a time limit on this speech, but I'd love your feedback, and I'd love to know what else you do to help offload those administrative tasks and marketing and things that have nothing to do with your own personal skill or your business products and services, if they are not social media marketing or administration. So you can reach me at mypersuasivepresentations@gmail.com. Mypersuasive, PERSUASIVE, presentations@gmail.com. And just put "get out of the weeds" in the subject line, so I'll know that it relates to this topic, and we'll have a chat. We might even set up a Zoom session if there are several people interested. So thank you. I am going to close out now, and I hope you have a wonderful time. Bye.